So, United States calling.
Yeah.
It seemed to have been calling from chapter 1. I don't think you could have put it. I don't think it should have even gone beyond chapter 3, because there were so many references to it, really.
Yes.
And so it finally came. And with the fact that I like the fact you give the background story, by the way. So if you want to know her background story of how she had to leave Nigeria, you want to take a look at the pages in this book. However, I wonder, and I'm sure you might have wondered as well, what was going through your dad's mind when Morayo also had to leave Nigeria? Like, this is a child that he had probably vowed would never study abroad, would not have anything to do abroad. You want to go on holiday, go to Ajashe or go around Nigeria. There are places to discover.
Yes.
But then he was forced because of the situation.
Yeah.
What do you think was running through his mind then?
And I know he didn't really want us to go. Honestly, left to him, he really wanted us to just stay grounded. He felt that, listen, the last three of you have no business abroad, just stay here. You know, and anytime we complained about traveling, you take us to Port Harcourt, take us to Togo, take us to Cotonou, you know, just go around Africa, you know, Africa, and appreciate Africa. You know, but it was a tough decision, and I know that he wasn't really happy, because he was surprised when my mother was insisting on it. You know, my mother was one that made sure that my child is going, you know, and at some point he had to allow it, you know, but I know that he had his own reservations, but eventually he approved.
Now, your trip abroad, you've talked about the culture shock.
Yeah.
You've talked about how the decision was taken. However, I would like us to finally touch on meeting your siblings for the first time. Yes, it's one thing to read that part, but I think it's best to look at the facial expression when she's talking about when this meeting took place.
Yeah, so I was really excited. Because I've thought about that moment for many years. I've dreamt of it. I have, you know.
How old were you?
15.
15
you know,
years of waiting.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and, you know, I've always thought about, I dreamt of that moment to be me going with my mom, seeing my brothers, them hugging me, carrying me up, lifting me up. I missed it up so much. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. So we went to the UK first to pick up my older sister, Stajibike. And I think my brother was getting married, so we moved. So Stajibike and I think one or two of our friends followed us from the UK to the US. And as we arrived, now I was very young, so my brother saw Sister Jibike and a few others, and of course they hugged them first, you know. And for me, it was more like a shake hand because they were meeting for the first time. So for me, it was an anti-climax. Like, okay, I thought that I'll be seen and I'll be hugged. But, you know, there was that initial, okay, it was a side hug of, okay, I don't know how he was.
Another heart-sinking moment,
yes.
By the way.
So, you know, it took a while. And even when we got to the house eventually, you know, I was just staring at them, you know, but they didn't see me because they hadn't seen my sister, who was closer to their age than I was, and their friends. Her friends were also their own friends because they used to live in the UK before they moved to America. So they were very familiar with all these people. So they were like, all their friends are here. They were just gisting and all planning about the wedding, talking about the wedding, forgetting to focus on me, their sister, who they were meeting for the first time in 15 years.
And you just sat in a corner asking yourself,
there,
is this what I'd been waiting for?
Yes. I'm like, so these are the people I've been trying to see all these years. So I wasn't the focus of their attention. And I'm not that anything against them, but just that there was a wedding to be planned. The girls were in from the UK, and they were actually part of the people catering. So they were going to cooking, we have to buy this, we have to go and buy it. You know, so many things were going on. So I just felt like, okay, I guess whenever they have my time, they would say hello to me. So that's how it felt in the beginning.
Did it affect you in any way?
Of course, as a young person, you know, you just feel like, you know, you feel, as I said, it's an anticlimax, you know, but hey, eventually we got closer because when the whole wedding ended, so my oldest brother now had a conversation with me. He practically adopted me, moved me to his house, where I had more intimate relationship with him, with his wife.
His wife, yeah.
And so it was closer. And then eventually my other siblings, we now, you know, gradually met each other, and then we built the relationship over time. But at that moment, you know, it didn't feel that way because, as I said, there was so much distraction going on.
I say chapter 3 kind of merged into chapter 4 for me because of everything that happened.
Yeah.
The book picks up, like, you know, when you're starting a car, you're trying to get, and then all of a sudden you find that you're on the highway. So from this point, chapter 3, everything starts happening so fast. So prepare for that. And so you started talking about how you were Jaye, which was the previous chapter, by the way.
Yes.
But this was you really exploring life.
Yeah.
Would you have been able to live this life if you were in Nigeria?
Never.
But you didn't even let me finish.
You know that first, you are in this country, right? And your brothers have been living abroad almost most of their life, right? So they didn't have really mommy and daddy breathing down their necks. So they're practically like Americans. So they gave me the freedom. So I came in and they were not willing to be, you know, being like my parents who constantly monitor, what time are you coming out? What time are you going out? And that kind of stuff. They were just allowing me to be myself. They knew I was responsible. So I had more freedom. So I was hanging out with my friends. The born again girl that entered America, quickly turned over. Switched. You know, quickly switched. Of course, I backslid and, you know, I was doing a lot of things, but eventually, because I was grounded in religion, I was grounded in my ways and my belief system, I was able to find my way back. Because even though no matter how much you see life, because as a young person, you want to explore life. But I was able to retrace my steps because I never passed the boundaries. I never went beyond the part. I mean, I stretched it, but I didn't go up over it. Your
relationship with your brother's wife is another thing that stands out on the pages.
Oh yeah, she called me last week. Why did you tell the whole world I only wear trousers and just like? And it's like that, like I didn't lie in the house. So when I go out, I was going out with confidence. You know, I was well informed. I didn't go out, so I wasn't careless because I had somebody who guided me on what to eat, how much I can eat, when you go out, when to talk, when not to talk. She really trained me. She really did well for me.
Now, for many people, I should tell you, your view was not an accident. In fact, what gave birth to the idea in your mind is you actually mentioned it in chapter 3, talking about how your love for talk shows started. Tell us more about that.
So I was in the US when The View started with Baba Walters, and I was totally sold in the moment. And she had there was a promo that was developed around it, and she said that she wanted women to express themselves, and I'm thinking, wow, what a fantastic episode. And that was where the idea said, you know, when I get back to Nigeria, I have to do something like this. This is an amazing opportunity for women to share their views. So she did that. I saw the opening shot. I was a committed viewer watching. I never missed an episode back then, and that was what sowed that seed in my heart. Her show alongside Oprah too was very, very impactful in my life. There were things that formed my opinions, because Oprah also, during that period, a lot of women were feeling emancipated. They were feeling that, listen, we can do more with our lives than just become housewives. They were getting more empowered. They were getting more exposed to information that can make them better. So that was a season I was home watching TV, and I was just assimilating and taking it all in, knowing that if I do go back to Nigeria, I will definitely consider doing these kind of shows.
Now, let's talk about Japa. When I got to this part, so when you talk to people about leaving the country, you tell them, oh, there's no big deal out there. It's good to learn other experiences, other cultures, come back home. Many people look at you as if you're mad. They tell you, what do you mean? The opportunities are there. Yes, the opportunities are there. And there's a mistake so many people make, which you pointed out here. Today, that's in chapter 4. Today, everyone is in the Japa mode, which is the urgent exit to any other continent but Africa. There is nothing wrong with migration, but it must be with the deliberate intent to return and give back. And this last line, no matter how bad things are in Nigeria, home is always home. This paragraph, I think it should be framed and put in the airports, especially exits, like a reminder that
home is home.
Ajo Dabile, just like South Sultan of Blessed Memory sang.
Your home is always home. And I think a lot of, I would never stop anybody from leaving the country, because I understand there are various economic reasons to do so. But you must go with the intention to come back home. You shouldn't go with the intention of just staying back there. Because the truth is that, trust me, is whenever my brother's children, they were born and raised in the US, once they enter Nigeria, they suddenly feel a sense of identity, like, this is mine. this is my country. You know, that insecurity they feel being abroad, where they're constantly being judged by, okay, Japanese is better than you, Spanish is better than you. You know, they're always feeling like second class somehow. When you enter here, even with all the downfall and the noise and the chaos, this is mine.
Yes.
So that identity they feel, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
You can't. So there's need for Nigerians to leave. No problem. It's fine. But when you leave, have the intention, I'm going to here to get the knowledge, get the experience, get the exposure, and then seek opportunities to go home back
and invest
and try to and be part of the development.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't just leave and stay there. You should always have plans to come back home. And I think that's what's critical for me.
That line for me stood out in chapter 3,
Thank you.
and I really must mention it. Okay, so with that, we've come to the end of chapter 3.
Yes.
Moving on to chapter 4. While telling you to go get the book, I think, Morayo, you should tell us where can we get
So the
it?
books are available at Roving Heights. You can, those of you that love reading books at Roving Heights, please, you can pick it up there. Also, you can go to my website, kabitimedia.com. You can also send me a DM. It's also fine. I will see your request on my DMs, and I'll be happy to respond. You can also go on my page, Morayo Brown. You see all the various phone numbers. I have my flyers there. And it's also on Amazon. For those of you living abroad, it's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. You can order online. And we'll be happy to deliver to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Looking forward to sending you a copy.